Greetings and welcome to our daily walk through the scripture for May the 31st. We're almost at the halfway point. We're getting into month 6. We're getting closer. Stick with it. Even if you have fallen off a little bit or you've gotten too far behind, stick with it. Start fresh again today. Make today the day of your first day of going through the 1 year of the Bible. The good news about these recordings are you can start at any point and you can still do an entire year. Okay, the calendar doesn't change. But anyway, stick with it. Don't give up. Today's reading finds you in 2 Samuel chapter 18 and the first 10 verses of 2 Samuel 19, John chapter 20 verses 1 through 31, Psalm 119 verses 153 through 176, and Proverbs chapter 16 verses 14 and 15. So we're going to touch on 2 Samuel a little bit today, and we're going to jump over and talk about John and my boy Thomas. 2 Samuel 18 shows, once again, deception continuing in the world of David. The two main causes of stress and deception in David's life kind of come to a head here. We have Joab and we have Absalom. Now remember, Joab is the guy that killed Abner several years ago at this point, many years ago. This is way far into it. Joab is also David's cousin. Joab is not the most honorable. He's very rash, very hard-headed, very impulsive at times. And then we have Absalom, who, David's passivity of Absalom growing up allowed Absalom to take revenge into his own hands, to avenge his sister's dishonor, so on and so forth. And interestingly enough, we kind of see these guys come to a head, and we don't want to forget who it was that convinced David to bring Absalom back. It was Joab. Remember, Joab sent the woman who pretended to be in loss because of this and said, you should do this. Joab is the one that kind of created this scenario. So here we come. We come to the head of it, and David and David and his army and Absalom are about to fight. And so David tries to go. They say, no, we want you to be safe. Obviously, David is older in age, and we see instances where David is not quite the strapping young lad that he used to be. So they go and they fight, and Absalom is defeated, and he gets caught. Apparently, Absalom is very vain, has this big, beautiful flock of hair, and he's hanging by it. And so, even though David's last words to his commanders were, "Spare my son in honor of me," what does Joab do? He kills Absalom, runs a spear through him, and kills him. Joab tried to get somebody else to do it. Somebody said no, so Joab did it himself. So here's yet another instance of Joab being deceptive and deceitful to the king, pretending to be loyal to David, and yet at the same time not doing it, ignoring David or whatever it is. And so this creates this huge scene of mourning, and Joab scolds David for this stuff, and this is creating messy stuff. And this is gonna create some issues for David a little bit later. We're not done with the drama of David and his family. Okay, so pay attention to that. All right, John chapter 20. I love this scene because I love Thomas. Now, some people give Thomas a bad. They use the term doubting Thomas, okay? And you know what? I can't blame Thomas for having issues. I mean, people came to Thomas and said, hey, you remember our master, the Rabbi Jesus, who was killed in the worst way possible? Yeah, he's not dead. If I were Thomas, I'd be like, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. Y'all have been, I don't know what you're smoking. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm not going to believe it until I see it for myself and until I stick my fingers in the holes. This is a very natural reaction to us. However, the part I want to bring up is, what is your response when God proves himself? How do you respond? Do you respond like Thomas did? When Jesus appeared before Thomas and showed him and said, here it is, stop doubting and believe, Thomas's response was, my Lord and my God. Do we respond to God when he comes through and does things like that? When he provides opportunity, when he does things that are beyond what we can do, when he blesses us in ways, when he delivers us from situations that are undeliverable, do we look at him and go, my Lord and my God, or do we forget? And the next time something happens, we're back at it. Jesus responds to Thomas and says, "Because you have seen me, you have believed, but blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." But here's the good news. That's us. None of us, at least to my knowledge, have seen Jesus face to face. We have not. We believe on faith. And so, in many ways, we are truly more blessed than Thomas. The question is, though, are we willing to respond like Thomas? When God does something good, do we look at him and go, "My Lord and my God, I believe"? All right, that's our thought for today. We'll talk more tomorrow.